Hey guys, what's up? It's Justin, aka Diego. Another weekend, another video. This one might get uploaded on Monday, so I do apologize if it's late, but just got out of the pool, and first time in the pool. I know it's June and I live in Arizona, and everyone's gonna be like, wait, this is your first time in the pool and you live in Arizona and it's June? Yeah, long story short, the pool was green when I first started my project on it, so just finally got to, what would you call it, swimming conditions. So yeah, we had catfish and tuna swimming in there. We basically had a small little ecosystem. I didn't know if I moved into a zoo, what do they call this, an aquarium, or if I moved into a house, but there was a goddamn aquarium in my backyard. Anyway, so let's get into the topic of today. Today we're talking about, I had a question on my main page, and guys, feel free to hit me up with questions as much as you want, and if they're relevant and potent and I feel that they need to be addressed, I'll make a video about it. So this video, this gentleman has asked me why he has taken more damage than his undergeared off tank, and he's saying he's got a bunch of mastery and he's got stam and stuff like that, and basically I just want to talk about gearing and how it works and how your damage reduction works and how you're going to take less damage and the different types of gear you need to collect and what those different types of gear, what you can expect as far as threat, as far as how much damage you're going to be taking, and so on and so forth. So I'm in my traditional tanking set, and I call it my boss set, which is stam trinkets and stuff like that, and I wear this basically for a majority of the boss fights. We'll go through, I think I only have 2 other tanking sets right now. I have a mastery set right here. So one thing I do want to link to you guys, or I'll post in the little info box, is this unhittable macro. This thing's been good since BC, and basically it just tells you your overall avoidance plus block. So you could hit that and you'll see 102.4, basically, that if you guys remember that number back in BC, back in Wrath, if you got that number you actually could block every attack guaranteed, or dodge parry. Basically it meant that you would never take a full hit, you would at least block. That'd be the worst thing that would happen. So that's 102.4. so I'm at 83.98. some people, I think good tanks get like almost 90. We'll put on my mastery gear, we'll see how much I get in my mastery. 88.64. So and then I have a threat set, which is just basically like ret trinkets and stuff like that. That's for heroics and stuff, and farm content. I think these are ret shoulders too. Oh wait, no, they're not. Anyway, so how to take less damage and how to gear your paladin. Now, stamina, I have always been a stamina type of tank. I've always loved stamina, and stamina is always guaranteed survivability. Stamina is great for fights where there's mixed sources of damage. For example, like magical damage, flame breath, AoE damage, all that stuff that you can't avoid. Stamina helps buffer and helps you take that damage on the chin a little bit better. The reason why stamina tanks take a little bit more damage is because they're a little bit lower on the other stats, avoidance and mastery. So you'll see off tanks that maybe stack a little bit more mastery, a little bit more avoidance. They'll be taking a lot less spiky damage, if you will, because they're not going to. They might avoid that one or two more attacks than you every other time. But so the thing I want you guys to understand is when you're stamina tanking, you are going to take more damage. The reason why you want a stamina tank is for progression purposes. The more stamina you have, the more damage you could take. Does that make sense? I think that's pretty obvious across the board, right? The more stamina you have, the more goddamn fucking damage you could take. That's really simple. So the longer you live, the longer the fight goes on. For the most part, dead tank usually results in what? A raid wipe, unless you got a res or something and can save it that way. But for the most part, a dead tank is a raid wipe. So the longer you live, the longer your raid can progress in the fight, and that's really where stamina, aka soak tanking, comes into effect. Is you just want to live as long as possible. Now, when your guild or whatever group you're running with has the boss fight on farm and it's getting easier, or you're starting to get the hang of it, you could scale back that stamina and start working in your mastery trinkets, start working in a little bit more avoidance gear, start taking out you could even, if you want to hearth and reforge, in between pulls and stuff, because you feel like your guild's getting a handle on it. You could do that if your guild allows it. But basically, you want to start scaling back that health once your guild is starting to get the grasp of the fight. that way you take less damage. You have a chance to take less damage via avoidance, mastery, all that stuff. So what else was I gonna say? Gemming is basically the only way you could get around it, because you can't reforge stamina. So what you can do is what I had all stamina gems in basically my gear. I had stamina in my belt, stamina here, and actually I wore this tanking belt for a long time, the stamina belt. And then once we get the boss fight, pretty much well under wraps and we're on farm, I switch out for the mastery belt. So yeah, and they're basically the same thing. You'll see if I hover over there, it's just basically more stamina, a little bit more avoidance on the hardened elementium griddle McGriddles. So I mean, that's just basically, that's what you guys could take away. If you guys want to take less damage, you could switch in hybrid gems like I've done here. So parry stamina, mastery stamina, and that's basically what I've come away with. Obviously I'm still rocking the 81 stamina gem and the helm, but I'm still using my the 101 stams instead of the mastery, which I could, if it was my personal preference, I could do that. If you guys have a personal preference of throwing in the mastery one, whatever, I think it's like 67, whatever, you guys could do that. But long story short, he was also asking about expertise, and if his expertise was an issue, because he was saying, do I need to have expertise cap to take less damage? No, you do not need, we're not DPS guys. We don't need hit caps or expertise caps to take less damage, to whatever. The only thing that expertise and hit do for you is increase your threat. That's it. Parry hasting is gone. Blizzard said it in the blue post a long time ago. If you guys don't know what parry hasting was, back in the day, if a boss parried you, his next attack would get hastened, so he would just swing faster. In BC, what would actually happen, it would actually cause an additional swing. So if you guys ever heard of a parry gib, what would happen is if a boss parried, he would swing twice, and you'd see a tank just fucking go from full health to dead sometimes. Illidan was a pretty big fucking parry gib boss back in the day, if I remember correctly. I don't know. But anyway, so that's gone. So expertise and hit are only really there for threat purposes. And you'll see in my mastery gear, I got where is it? Here it is. So I got 16 expertise, which is 10 from my glyph. So I basically got 6 expertise, and then my hit is pretty low, 1.76. So I got, I don't like being lower hit than that, because then it just kind of gets frustrating in the first 30 seconds. But it's your comfortable level. If you want to have 3% hit, 4% hit, just understand you're gonna be you're giving up some survivability to get that extra threat. Then that's always the case with threat. You're gonna be taking more damage when you put on that more threat gear. So that's just basically the different kinds of gear. Hopefully that has clarified how you guys need to gear, and what types of fights, and why you should gear a certain way for certain fights and progression, blah blah blah. Anyway, I'll catch you guys next time. You guys have a good one. Later.